Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to another edition of On Deck, starring myself, Big B, hosting. Greg doesn't seem to. I don't know. Greg doesn't want to be on it. I don't know.
I
But
don't
I'm
know.
also here with my backstop, my
Yep.
catcher, my producer, Chris P. Bacon. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. End of the
Good.
season so far. I mean,
You know,
coming close.
you know, and
He's coming.
all right, and there he is, Big Dog Greg. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing okay. So we're getting down there. I know we were talking behind the scenes before we started.
Yep.
Greg, Pujols, 20-some games left, 3 away. I mean, he's got to be. He's got to do it, doesn't he? I mean,
Oh,
what do you
yeah.
think, Greg?
Yeah, I think he's got to do it, man. You know, I think it's time to put a fourth member of the 700 club in there. You know, we got Big Bad Bonds, Hank Aaron, and Babe Ruth. It's time to put old Pujols in there. But, you know, the important thing to me is that he eclipsed Alex Rodriguez for fourth place. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to stay in fourth place. You know, I don't see him getting to Babe Ruth, but I definitely think that he's going to join the 700 club, especially with some left-handed pitchers coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, exactly. So, Chris, I know we kind of talked yesterday on Four Bros about it, but what do you think? 20-some games left, 3 away. You know, what do
Yeah,
you think?
it's coming close. Yeah, he can. I think he can do it. It's just gonna come close.
Yeah, like I said last night on Four Bros, you know, if he's sitting at 699 and there's 1 game left, I'm as much as I think it was Chris or mess around Dave said the integrity of the ball game just to throw him up a meatball, kind of, it's like. But I think baseball needs a positive story after the last couple of years. I think 700. I think a lot of people look their own way. And Greg, we got a surprise for you. There he is.
Oh, there he is.
The mess around man.
Bears.
The
Bears.
So, Dave, we were just talking about Pujols. I know me, you, and Chris talked about it last night, but you think Pujols is going to get that 700?
Yeah, I think he's going to get it. That guy's on his tear right now.
Yeah. And it's something baseball needs right now, I think.
It is, and I hope he does get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anybody deserves 700, it's him.
Exactly. That's why I still think if I'm pitching last game of the year and he's at 699, I'd probably, I don't want to say lob one up to him, but I'd probably give him a couple right down the middle and let him tee off on me. I mean,
he's one of the guys that played the game the right way. He never had a steroid scandal, none of that, and never had an off-field incident. So definitely one of those guys that deserves it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find somebody that's digging up information. Not going to find it, but he's trying to dig up something.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's gonna be somebody always looking, but a feel good story on Pujols. I mean, when he hit his 697, the people that caught the ball went to go meet him and give him the ball back, and he said, "No, you guys keep it. It'll mean more to you than it will to me." And the reason behind that is because it was 1 year to the day that the lady, I can't remember her name, but her dad passed away. So they went and watched the game as they would normally do from the story. And so, I mean, right there just shows you how much class Pujols has. I mean, yeah, 697, 99, 98 ain't going to mean nothing to Pujols. 700 is going to be the big ball. So, but Greg, did you hear about that story? Read about it? What do you think?
I think that Albert Pujols has always been a pretty class guy. I think that, like Mess Around said, he hasn't had any off the field drama. He doesn't have any ties to steroids or any pet medications or anything like that. So he's, I think that he's played it really clean. and he's just been an outstanding guy and a great ambassador for the game. So it doesn't surprise me that he would say something like that, because I don't think that he's the type of guy that's really into, I don't really think that he's a guy that just has like a mantle or a trophy case in his house of all his accolades and achievements,
I bet you he does. I bet you he does.
Yeah, he might.
He probably doesn't show him off. I mean, like if he's in the interview, he doesn't sit in front of his case and shows them off. But
yeah, I think that he's probably a pretty class act guy. Yeah, I don't think that he's a guy that really has to talk himself up a lot. And
no doubt. So
yeah.
before we get, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, I'm sure he uses it for like negotiations for a contract or something.
Oh,
Here's what I've done.
Yeah, I mean, but we can all find out what he's done. Well, before we move on to the standings and the games today, I did see a question earlier about Pujols. Somebody put out there, what would you want if you caught number 700? So, Chris, I'll start with you. You catch number 700. What would you ask Pujols for?
You can ask a lot of things, I guess. Maybe a signed baseball. It doesn't have to be the baseball.
Well, yeah, you're giving him 700, so you're not getting that ball.
Right.
So mess around. Or okay.
No, I was gonna say, just a signed baseball.
Okay, mess around. What would you want from Pujols if he caught 700?
I'd probably ask for White Sox season tickets, baby.
Nice. Greg, I know you're a Cardinals fan, so what would be something that you would want? I mean,
man, I'd probably want like a game-worn jersey with his autograph or something.
Okay.
Maybe a signed ball and I don't know, maybe go out for a couple drinks and just shoot the breeze a little bit,
That'd be something. That'd be some stories to tell. But yeah, I mean, for me, just give me an autograph, because that ball means more to him than it wouldn't be to me. I mean, if he offered more, I definitely would take it, but I would just ask for a bad ball, maybe batting glove signed. Some people are throwing out ridiculous comments. I mean, they would want $20,000. They would want him to, be the highest bidder on an auction site. Yeah, they would want, like I think somebody put it in there. They want an autographed jersey from every player on the team, and it's just like, come on, guys. I mean, that ball means more to that player, to MLB, than it would be to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you keep it, good luck and getting it out in an auction. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that, but MLB is going to want that ball. So
yeah, so they can auction it off and all that.
Well, put it in the Hall of Fame and stuff.
Put it in the Hall of Fame, man.
Yeah. So let's get into some of the scores here. It looks like bottom of the second, Twins Royals are tied. It looks like the White Sox and the Rockies are going to start up here shortly. Angels and Guardians are tied at 1. That's in the 6th inning. Astros Tigers 4-2. Astros in the bottom of the 5th. Top of 6 they're going into. Phillies, Marlins. Marlins up by 1. Tie game 0-0 in the second game of a doubleheader for Pittsburgh and the Reds. Orioles and the Nationals are tied at 1. The Rays 1-0 over the Blue Jays. That's in the second game of a doubleheader. Cubs Mets 1-0. Cubs over the Mets. Yankees Red Sox 2-3 Red Sox in the bottom of the 3rd. And the Brewers and the Cardinals. Brewers up by 2 over the Cardinals. Sorry there, Greg. Athletics Rangers are just started, so they're tied. Game 1. Pirates and the Reds. Pirates won 6-1, and also game 1, the Rays beat the Blue Jays 4-2. And then tonight we got the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Padres, Marlins, Braves, Giants. So mess around. What's up with your White Sox? I know they took over the Twins in second. Do they got enough mustard to take over the Galaxy?
Well, we got a big series against the Rockies. I know we should win that game, but you know how baseball goes. Anything can happen. So I'm going to sweep the Rockies, and the Guardians Maybe they play the Angels. I hope the Guardians lose their series to the Angels, but we all know the Angels have been playing this year. They're up and down. They're mostly down, so
Yeah.
I don't see them sweeping the Guardians anytime soon.
Well,
Also, I'd just
look-
like to say that if it wasn't for this guy to my right, I wouldn't have my nickname messed around. That's where it came from.
yeah. So it looks like must be a makeup game. Yep, makeup game in a couple days. White Sox Guardians. So that'll be a big game for you guys. And then it looks like the 20th through the 22nd. Looks like the White Sox Guardians are going to have a 3-gamer. So those games are going to be pretty big for you, for
That's
White Sox.
the division right there.
Yeah, I mean the Twins are still in it, but they're just so inconsistent right now that I don't think they're. I mean they're 5 games out. That's going to be hard to make up 5 games with an inconsistent team. So
That whole series that you mentioned at the end of the season is going to decide the Central.
yep, it sure is. Chris, your Rangers are not out of it, but they're out of it. I mean they're in the middle, 30 games back. So
Yeah, hoping for that wild card. I doubt we'll get that. So I'm not really looking for much. I mean, maybe start a little consistency heading into next season will be good. They're starting a rookie pitcher. They've been doing that the last couple games. And then yesterday they played a doubleheader and split it with the Marlins. So
Hey, Crispy, how disappointing is that for you that the Rangers went out and spent all that money this year and they haven't done anything?
I know, right? And it could have been manager issues. I mean, or ownership issues. It could be either way. They've been doing okay since then, but it's going to take a while for it to show, I think.
yeah, we're definitely hopefully next year. I know I was high on the Rangers when they signed everybody. I thought it'd be
I
a
kind of
new.
felt like, because I think last year they were in last place. I thought they at least go to third,
Yeah.
and they can still.
Okay, and then we got Greg's Cardinals 8 games up on the Brewers, who they're battling right now. So, Greg, are they going to be able to hold on to that, or what do you think?
I think that they should. Mathematically, they should be able to hold on to that. But with a few matchups, just like the one tonight, if they don't start playing a little bit better ball, because they've been dropping a few games here and there to lesser teams, especially the Pirates. So I think that they can hold off. But this is when all the in-league rivalries start coming on. So with some games with the Cubbies, the Brewers and stuff, and they're not, they kind of dropped off a little bit in the last week and a half or so. I think that they'll hold them off, but they just need to get a little bit more consistent. I know that right now, all the Albert Pujols type hype is kind of getting everybody amped up and everything, but they need to stay on track because they were on a tear.
Yeah.
So they're having a little bit of letdown as far as dropping a few games, but they do have the excitement of Pujols and everything. So I think that some of that will help lift them up and get them through, and I think they'll end up 3 or 4 games ahead of the Brewers when it's all said and done.
Okay. Yeah, the Brewers, the Cardinals face off today and tomorrow, and then looks like the Cardinals got a couple of doubleheaders, or got a doubleheader coming up with the Reds. And then they got a tough schedule there. Padres for 4, Padres for 3, Dodgers for 3, and then back with the Brewers. So they're gonna be looking at some tough matchups here. I was gonna see what the Brewers have here coming up.
Yeah, and it hasn't been exactly our greatest year against the Reds either. Yeah. We've had a tough time with some really bottom dwelling teams. And it seems as of lately, there's been a lot of bottom dwelling teams like the A's, the Pirates, the Nationals that are actually playing pretty decent ball, considering it's this late in the season and as far out as they are. But they're you got a few of these bottom dwellers that can play spoiler in some of these races.
Yeah, and the Brewers got some games coming up against this weekend against the Yankees, then Mets, and then the Reds themselves, and then so they got some battles. It's going to be a good final month or so of the season. Standing wise, Yankees are 5 up on the Rays. Blue Jays are 6 back. Cleveland is ahead in the Central with the White Sox 3 back, Twins 5 back. Houston pretty much has had that division wrapped up. They're 11 and a half over Seattle. In the National League, you got the Mets a game and a half up on the Braves. That's going to turn into a good battle, I think. Central Cardinals up 8 on the Brewers, and then the Dodgers already made the playoffs. The Padres are 20 games back, so it looks like the teams are getting finalized here. Wild card, you got the Rays, Seattle leading with Toronto within that 3rd spot. Baltimore is 5.5 back. White Sox 7, Twins 9 back. In the National League, you got the Braves and the Phillies and the Padres, with the Brewers 2 back and the Giants 9 back. So baseball's heating up, guys. I mean,
It is.
So just looking at some news here before I get into Trout has homered in 7 straight games, going for 8 tonight. Does he tie that record, Greg? I'll ask you first.
Mike Trout is as locked in as any player I've seen over the past 10, 15 years. And with a potential tying record on the line, I think that he is going to do it. That's one thing about the Angels. Even though the Angels don't have the record, they do have a lot of great talent on that team, and they've been pounding the ball lately.
Yeah.
They've been getting a lot of production out of Ohtani, Trout, and they got plenty of pop. So I think that if the guys in front of Trout can get on and make things a little uneasy, I think that'll set up some nice pitches for him. So I think that he's going to get it.
All right. So, Masvidal, what about you? Do you think Trout will get number 8 straight tonight?
I hope he hits a couple of them tonight and wins the game, honestly, just because they're playing the Guardians. But yeah, that guy is like Big Greg said. He's locked into anybody right now, so I can see him doing it unless, like Greg alluded to, there's nobody on base and they walk him or something. But
Yeah.
I hope he gets it.
Chris, how about you? Do you think Trout will get 8 in a row tonight, 8 straight home runs?
I think so. I mean, he's focused. He's been doing this a while.
Okay.
He kind of knows what he's doing, so sure.
Well, I kind of hope he does too, but looking at the box score, he's 0 for 2 right now with 1 walk, bottom of 6, so he's got possibly 1 more at bat depending on where they are in the lineup. It's 3-1. So it's going to be a tough. I would not be surprised if I see on SportsCenter he gets it. If not, he'll get it tomorrow, and then we'll be like, oh, they should have given it to him, So, so MLB has voted in some new rules that'll take place for next year. One is the pitch clock. So I believe, if I read it right, I'm looking them up right now. I think it's 20 seconds with the runner on base and then 15 seconds to throw the ball with the runner off base. Greg, what do you think of the new rule of that?
I'm not really a big fan of implementing any kind of new rules. I think that baseball is one of the most pure sports. It's still our national pastime. I know that football is the big money maker, but I'm not big into all these new rules with the shifts and the adding extra inches to the bases and changing the shift and putting in clocks and stuff. Now, in like professional and college basketball, a shot clock was much needed because a team could just kind of play keep away and hold the ball for 4 or 5 minutes at a time, and it got really boring. And I think that a rule change in a sport like basketball, a shot clock, a 24-second shot clock or a 30-second shot clock was something that was necessary. I don't really know if something like this is necessary, and I think it's just going to lead to more distractions, putting putting a clock behind the catcher or off to the side of the catcher and everything. I think that it's going to throw a lot of pitchers off. But I do think that it's a little bit ridiculous as well, though, when you got a batter that has to adjust his batting gloves every time, step out of the box and stuff. So I think that it was an unnecessary thing. And if they could just clean some of that up, tell the batters, you don't have to step out of the box every time, just be ready to go, and everything, and tell the pitcher that they don't have to shake off the signs like 4 or 5 times on certain guys. I think that it was something that is absolutely unnecessary and could have been cleaned up on its own.
All right, Messer, how about you with the pitch clock?
So for me, my first question is, what's the penalty if they use the whole clock and don't get the pitch off before the clock expires?
I think it's an out.
Let me see. So I am looking. So here is the rule. Let me get to where it specifies it. So according to the rule change, the clock will be 30 seconds between hitters. The catcher must be in his box ready with 9 seconds left on the timer, while the hitter has to have both feet in the box and be alert to the pitcher with 8 seconds on the clock starting. The pitcher can step off the rubber, which would reset the clock to 20 seconds if there's a base runner, 15 seconds if there isn't. They are only permitted twice to do. According to MLB, similar changes in the minor leagues reduced the average game to 26 minutes. And actually, stolen base, they put it here, stolen bases increase. Dave, that is a good question because I don't see where it would state. I would guess that it would be a ball if the pitcher takes too much time. And I guess if the hitter violates it, it'll be a strike. I don't know. That's something we can look into.
I don't know. I'm totally against it. It's not like, when Mark Burley, I'll use him as an example. That guy pitched really fast. He didn't waste time. Got up there, threw the ball. There's not a lot of guys around like that to do that. And I think it's gonna mess up the timing and everything else between the pitcher and catcher because they're gonna feel rushed, and you're gonna see ERAs go up.
Okay. Chris, how about you?
I have a question. What if a pitcher releases the ball right as the time's expiring, but he gets the ball out of his hand right before it goes off? Is there going to be like a big buzzer that goes off, like a shot clock violation in basketball?
I don't know.
And that's going to throw the hitter off.
Yeah,
through a big horn.
The few games I went to at the minor leagues here with the Saints, to me it wasn't a distraction myself. I mean, because I kind of was watching the clock to see how they did it, and it looks like once the pitcher starts to wind up, the clock goes off. So once he starts in his motion and winds up, then they turn the clock off. So nobody can see it. I don't see it being a distraction. Chris, how about you?
I don't either, but I think earlier we were talking about integrity of the game.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people, the younger generation or fans are thinking it's a slow game. They're trying to speed it up to get more fans involved, the younger crowd. But I don't see it being a problem. No.
All I know is the longer the fans are in the stands, the more money that can be made off of beer and concessions. So
yeah,
that's it right there.
Well, I know a lot of places they stop sales of alcohol after the seventh or eighth inning. Yeah. All right. So the second rule, I'll get to before I get to the third rule. Is larger bases. To me, I don't see why we need larger bases. They're going to go 15 inches to 18 inches. Dave or Greg, I'll get you. Dave's walking around. Greg, what do you think about the increase in the base sizes?
Well, I think that the increase in the base sizes is going to lead to a lot more stolen bases.
Okay.
You're adding 3 inches. How many times have we seen somebody get thrown out at second base and the difference is like 2 to 3 inches? So increasing the width of the bases is probably going to increase how many steals are allowed. at second base over the course of the season. I
Yeah.
really don't see this as something that's necessary either. I don't really see a problem right now with the size of what the bases have always been. So I really don't know. It seems to me like they're just regulating issues that don't need to be regulated.
Yeah, and actually, Greg, it does state in here that the intent is for more stolen bases and more people trying to get those extra base hits. So, Dave, what do you think on the larger bases going about 3 inches bigger?
I don't know. I think why? Just why? I mean, it's find a way to. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
That is one thing MLB definitely needs to learn. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So, Chris, how about you? I think I kind of got here, but
Yeah, it sounds like it's a tripping hazard too. But we'll see what happens.
yeah,
Kind of like Dave. Why?
Yeah, exactly. Why? I mean, if it is going to increase base stealing and people trying to get that a double out of a single, then I'm kind of all for it, especially for the stealing side. But again, I don't see why we need bigger bases. So
Yeah.
now going on to the third rule, which I think a lot of people would like. Let me pull it up here. The shifting rule. So
Yeah.
per the league rule, upon release of each pitch, there must be a minimum of 4 defenders other than the battery with both feet within the outer bounds of the infield dirt. There must again, and then there's a second part to that. Upon the pitch, there must be 2 of the 4 infielders on each side of second base. The team must designate 2 infielders for each side of second base, and they cannot switch. For example, a team cannot have a stud defender move back and forth upon the hardness. Oh, okay. So I get what they're saying there. They want 2 guys on each side of the base. They don't want somebody that, your Gold Glove third baseman to move over and play second if there's a left-handed hitter up. So I get that. So mess around. You kind of said yeah. So
Yeah.
what do you like of that?
Shift. I hate this shift. It's ruined the game of baseball. It really has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many guys are out of the league now because they can't pull the ball the other way?
Yep.
So many guys. It's gonna batting averages are gonna go back up. You're gonna see higher batting averages. I put a ton of weight shift years ago.
Greg?
I'm kind of 50-50 on this because I kind of like the strategy of baseball, putting shifts on and stuff. It's not like you see shifts all the time in baseball, but you see certain guys that just cannot seem to push the ball the other way. You got guys like Joey Gallo and stuff that could probably get an extra 40 to 50 hits a season if they would learn how to go with a pitch and be able to spray the ball to all sides of the field. I'm kind of torn on this because I'm kind of 50-50 because I like it when there's a tight game and you got a pull hitter or something and you're moving your guys around and everything and doing what you can. Just like in certain situations, you move your guys up to play for a bunt or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that these guys, especially with no salary cap, the sky's the limit. I think that these guys should be talented enough with the bat to put the ball wherever they need to put it. So if you're putting a shift on somebody, I don't really see how hard it would be for a guy getting $40-50 million a year to be able to lay down a bunt where nobody's at. But I think that it'll bring more excitement to the game, though, if you're not constantly having like 2 guys in shallow right field or shallow left field, trying to play a pull guy. So I think that it could be a little bit more fun for the game, but I don't know. I think that it takes a lot of strategy away. We've seen it a lot in the postseason where defenses are always shifting and playing the odds and everything. look at the Yankees when they lost that World Series off that little blue pit. They moved everybody in, was trying to play the odds, and they got burned. But so I'm not really for or against this rule. I think that it'll be okay. I think that for the most part, if you're a first baseman, you're supposed to kind of play first base, and your third baseman should play for third base and not second. So I'm kind of up in the air on it, honestly.
All right, Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of up in air on it too. I personally don't see a problem with it, but I can understand why players do, and I think it just depends on the team and the players. So I know Rangers used it a lot, so that kind of hurts them a little bit. But I mean, why not just try it out, get rid of it?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Greg. I think maybe later in the games, let's say 7th, 8th, 9th inning, let's put it in for strategy purposes. But yeah, I'm kind of torn because you know what, you're taking my defense out of I'm trying to stop the hitters from hitting, so why wouldn't I, put people where they're going to hit it to? And if I'm the hitter, I got to learn how to lay down a bunt then to counteract it, and that's what they're kind of taking away. We said it before. If you would have put the shift on Tony Gwynn, he would have just laid down a bunt right down third baseline and probably got a double out of it. So they're I'm kind of with Greg. I think it's a 50-50 thing. I think maybe they could let it, let's not do the shift, but once the 7th, the 8th, the 9th inning come, okay, let's put some strategy into the game, and then let's put the shift on then. So, but I definitely like the fact that they want each side to have 2 fielders on. I think that's definitely going to help. And like, Dave said, batting averages might go back up again. I don't, get those bloop hits in there. So.
Yeah, I just think that there's other things that they could have changed for the better. I think that some of these rules were unnecessary and didn't really need to be changed. There's other things that probably could be changed, like when a relief pitcher comes in and only throws 1 pitch, and then they bring in, using 3 relievers to get through 1 guy. Stuff like that could be kind of touched up a little bit. I think those are parts of the game that could be cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, no, and actually they've done that. I think a relief pitcher has to face the minimum 1 batter, I think, or throw 3. I can't remember the whole rule, but I thought they have made a difference in that this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they have to face at least 1 batter.
Yeah. But I think that's what it is.
See, that's a change that I can get on board with, instead of a guy throws a couple balls and brings somebody else in to try to get through a guy,
Oh yeah, I've hated that so many times. It's like, come on, he needs to. So, I don't see anything else on the docket here, guys. You guys got anything, Big Dog?
Well, I think that Tony La Russa, for better or worse, him not being, the active manager right now has helped propel the White Sox. I think that the presence of Miguel Cairo and whatever he's bringing to the team has given them a little bit new life, in the clubhouse. What do you think, Mess Around?
Yep.
Yeah, I've said this before on, I think it was Sportsman. It sucks that Lewis is not healthy or whatever. I hope whatever he's telling him, it goes away, and but for whatever reason, without him there, the White Sox played a lot better, and I think he's done. He's not coming back after this year.
Yeah, Gemini just hit a 3-run home run too. So for the White Sox, they're up 3-0 going into the top of the second here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with Greg. I think and I like La Russa since he was with the A's, back in the day. But I think
fantastic manager. But
yeah.
I think that for the White Sox, they need a little bit younger blood in there, on the bench. I think that La Russa may be too old school. I loved him with the A's and the Cards, and maybe the White Sox in his early years. But I think that I don't know, whatever it is, they're getting new life injected in them with a little bit new leadership.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. And Mesro's glitched out of here. He's back. He's thrown out the name AJ Przinsky to get in there. And I don't know if Przinsky wants to manage, but that definitely would be a guy who can get hot-headed at times and spark a little fire underneath the White Sox. That guy definitely. For me too, Doug Mankiewicz has been another name floating around the Twins organization every time there's a leading candidate there. So I can see the White Sox going after. They gotta go after somebody young, no doubt about that. So
What they need, like I said before, they need a Spanish-speaking manager.
yeah, that is true.
Spanish people on their team, they would benefit them.
Yeah, that's why I still can't believe they got rid of Guillen. I've said that before. I don't know what happened there, but
He wanted out. He wanted to go to Florida where the big money was
that's
paid.
right. That's right. He did want to go to Florida. That is correct. So, Chris, you got anything that we might have missed that you've seen?
I don't know. I mean, playoffs are closely coming up, and there's some teams eliminated, but I don't think they're anybody we thought were going to be top teams. So
Okay. I'm just looking at a story here on ESPN. O'Neal Cruz, shortstop, is actually 6'7". That is one tall SOB to play shortstop. I mean, wow.
I want to say that I think, not looking past this year, but I think that next year, if some of these teams like the Rangers and the Rockies and some of these teams that aren't even in contention right now can play it right, I think that we're going to have a very, very competitive Major League Baseball season next year because there are a ton of arms, a ton of pitchers on the free agent market next year. So I think that if a few teams are willing to spend a little money or go out and get some kind of guys that aren't incredibly expensive but effective, I think that we're going to see a lot of competition next year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's all going to start with number 99 of the Yankees, Aaron Judd. Guys, where do you think he's going to end up? Mess around?
He ain't going nowhere. He's gonna stay in New York. That's the only place probably gonna pay him the money he wants. I don't think anybody else is gonna come close to what he wants.
Okay. Greg?
It wouldn't surprise me if the Dodgers dig a little bit deeper in their pockets and try to get him. But I think that he's probably going to stay in a big market area. So I think that he's going to stay with the Yankees. The Yankees need to clean house on some of their other jokesters. Maybe move on from Stanton, maybe move on from Hicks. Some of those guys, deplete some of those guys that are just kind of injured all the time or not really putting in a lot of effort. So clear some of that money and make some more room for Judge.
Chris, how about you? Where do you think? I mean, could the Rangers fork over another $500 million for one player?
I would hope so, but now with the management you have now, well, actually you probably could.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to stay in a big market. I mean, I know there was rumblings here that, Cabrera's been in Judge's ear since he's been with the Twins, and I hope they don't. As much as that bat would look sweet in Minnesota and pretty much any lineup, I just can't see them forking over that much money unless they do some kind of Barry Bonds deal. But I think he's going to stay in New York. I think New York's going to fork over the money. I hope to God the Dodgers don't do it. Just give me more reason to hate the Dodgers. And I actually grew up liking the Dodgers, but now they just come to be a greedy team, So,
Yeah.
A greedy team that only win a World Series in a 60-game season.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, look how much money the Yankees have, spent over since the mid '90s, and how many World Series have they won? I mean, yeah, they've been to playoffs quite a bit, but money only brings you postseason success. It doesn't guarantee that World Series.
They won quite a bit in the 90s.
Yeah, the word outside of
Yeah.
LA is that the Lakers can't win outside of bubble and the Dodgers can't win outside of a third of a season.
Yeah. Well, Lakers got their own problems with LBJ there, so
Yeah,
Um,
they're getting old.
yeah. So some scores here. Like I said, the White Sox are up. Twins are up, but they're playing the Royals, so that doesn't really help the White Sox that much. Angels, Guardians are still up 3-1.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Mets are down 3-0 on the Cubs, so that helps the Braves out some. Cardinals are the Brewers. They've 4-3 Cardinal or 4-3 Brewers right now. So, but that's early. It's at the bottom of the second right now, so there's still time to play with those games. So, well, with that being said, guys, Dirk had something going on, so ain't got much to talk about. I was hoping to get him on for his Yankee takes or Mets takes, I mean. So let's go around the room and finish up. Messerol, thanks for coming on. What's your final thoughts for tonight?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I don't know a whole lot about fall baseball that much, but it was good to get on here and talk baseball with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And catch him out on his new show on Mondays. Nap time. No, it's not nap time. It's what was it? Nightcap. That's what it is. Nightcap with Messerol and friends. So check that out Mondays. Possibly we might be doing more of those throughout the week. We're in talks with that. So, Greg, always good to see you. So, what's your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts is that I don't really do a lot of plugs for the Atlanta Braves, but one thing that really sticks out to me is that the Atlanta Braves are a much better team this year than they were last year. And I know that's hard to say because they won the World Series last year, but I think that their pitching is spot on. I think that, even without Soraka, I think that they've got one of the best pitching rotations and they got things rolling right now. So I think that even though they lost Freddie Freeman, they got one heck of a pickup in Matt Olson, who was younger and also more productive this season. So keep an eye on the Braves. They're making a good run right now.
Yeah, and speaking of the Braves, I just want to look at their schedule. Of course, they got the Giants tonight and tomorrow. But then they at home against the Phillies and the Nationals, and then they're on the road against the Phillies and Nationals until the end of the month. Then they got the Mets, so that could be a tough stretch there for the Mets and the Braves. So that's going to come down to a good battle there. So, Chris, what's your final thoughts for tonight?
No, great show. Thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Tuesday Night Mania is coming up around 9:15. So tune in for that and all our great shows this week.
Yeah, exactly. Tune in top of 9:00 Central, 9:30 Central. I'm sorry. Tuesday Night Mania. We got some great topics with those guys over at Top Rope Collectibles. Will definitely joins us. Wednesdays we got Sports Minute. Thursdays we got OVW, Creeping It Real. Sundays, Morning Tailgate. Week 1 is in the books for football, so we'll catch our recap on Sunday. So with that being said, and always catch Four Bros on Mondays and Friday nights. So, and Chris, I know our Tuesday night fans haven't heard, but want to congratulate you on your new job.
Thank you.
You're still going to be around, just certain days. So
yeah, I'll be here for this show.
Definitely want to give you congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So, with that being said, guys, join us next week on Deck on Tuesdays. Have a good night.